So everything in the comic book industry right now is pretty much exploding because we've got stimulus checks on the way, and we don't really know what's going to happen with WandaVision and, by default, everything with the Marvel Comics universe. I've got some books that I think have got some really good room to grow, and they're kind of all, off people's radar. And if you'd like to know what they are and give me what your thoughts are on it, stick around. Okay, welcome back, family. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm recording this on Valentine's Day. Don't worry, I already gave her chocolate and candy. She's happy. Anyway, her chocolate and card, rather. Don't really celebrate it too much. Anyway, I was trying to figure out, because a lot of books are exploding, and everybody's trying to figure out where can I put some money into it. What book should I be getting before they explode? And yes, this is not complete, this is not a video for speculators with the intention of flipping books. As you can tell by looking at the books behind me, I've got some expensive books that have gone up a lot, and they're staying behind me. Okay, my goal ultimately would be to sell a lot of these books to get my core books. And yes, I want to have a wonderful collection for myself, but at the same time, I'm not going to ignore the market has the ability to buy something now, sell it, and then I can apply that money to a book that I truly want. Okay, I would love to have a Giant Size X-Men #1. I actually am kicking myself for not buying that when I was a kid, when it was $75. I just couldn't. I'm like, $75 on a comic, that's crazy. Who knew? So, so anybody that buys books, with the intention of trying to sell them, if it's only just to buy and sell like you're buying stocks and you don't care about it, that's one thing. But if you're literally buying them and selling them so you can, play the market a little bit with the intention of trying to get those books that are really close to your heart, then I don't think the people should judge them the same way. And I'm kind of the same, in that boat. That being said, though, WandaVision, if anybody's watching it, I may accidentally spoil something if you haven't seen episode 5, 6. I have, this is before 7. If you haven't watched my prediction of the fact that I don't think that Mephisto was the bad guy, you might want to drop out right now because I'm going to refer to that. Okay, so you've had your fair warning. Here we go. I still don't think Mephisto's the bad guy. Am I still confident in who my pick was? Much less so. They made one specific word referenced twice in episode 6, which I think seals the deal that the bad guy is going to be Nightmare, which I think makes a lot more sense than going Mephisto. Again, I don't think Disney is going to be going down the route of anything that is related to the Judeo-Christian Bible. Not in today's cancel culture, that's for sure. That's a separate issue. I'm not going to get into that one. But I am going to miss Cara Dune. I really like that character. So, anyway, again, I'm not going to say whether I am in favor or for. This is not a political forum. This is comic books. So, Nightmare's first appearance has already exploded because people that were specking for it. But there are other characters that, even if they don't come in because of WandaVision, they're definitely going to have their day. And these are books that, even though some of them may be high-priced, I think that still a lot of them have room to grow. And, that's the whole thing. Is I don't think that... I wouldn't be putting my money into Mutants 98 right now. $2,000 for a 9.8? What's the upside on it? I might sell it for $2,100, $2,200, get a 10% return on it. And it's not a book that I'm not a big fan of Deadpool. So I don't think that I wouldn't be buying that book anyway. Okay, this better be the best sealed book in history because it's got a year's supply of bubble tape in here. I think there's that much fit inside that box. Ooh, even with the bag and everything. Oh, it looks really, really nice. Got my 221, X-Men 221, first appearance of Mr. Sinister in a 9.8 white pages. I've been looking forward to this one. If anybody, I actually, this was actually my prediction for the bad guy. Okay, and I still think it's possible. I still do think it is possible for the reasons that I said. And I cited also that the book was increasing tremendously in price. But that's because, and I found out afterwards, I'm sorry, I should have done more research for you guys. It's been stated that he will be in the upcoming MODOK animated series. They're going to have Mr. Sinister in it. Now, the MODOK, it kind of looks like a Marvel version of Robot Chicken, if anybody watched that. That claymation, that kind of funniness, that same kind of humor that it's in. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, I'm really looking forward to watching it. But I don't think that they would be introducing Mr. Sinister as a character unless they had, they weren't trying to at least get everybody warmed up to the fact that, yes, he is in the Marvel Comics universe and you may see him. They're going to be bringing him into the MCU. Okay, I think that's a given. This is just their lead-in, their intro. Speaking of lead-in intros, New Mutants #1. Okay, I actually picked this one up about a year ago. When it first came out, I had 100 copies off. So I actually had my comic book dealer order an extra 100 copies of this book for me and paid him full cover price. Cost me $60. And for a 12-year-old, that was a lot of money. Especially if you grew up in the 80s, you know what $60 was. I mean, that was a bike. And this book, it went up a bit before the release of the movie, then came back down when everybody saw how bad the movie was. Let's face it, it really wasn't bad. It really wasn't that great. But we all know that mutants are going to be coming in. Is there any possibility, think about it, is there any possibility that the mutants that will be coming into WandaVision are not the X-Men, but the New Mutants? They're already in the Marvel universe because Disney owns them. They released the movie. They might be using this as their bridge to bring them in, and then later on, as they're in trouble, they get a call from Professor Xavier, come to my whatever. But there's a lot of great characters in New Mutants, which then leads to X-Force, which leads to Deadpool. It's a whole universe. Plus, if they want to have any kind of a tie with Colossus, who is with Deadpool, Illyana is his younger sister. So there's a family element there, which, who knows? It's no way of knowing right now at this point what's going to happen with WandaVision. And honestly, that really psychs me out. All right, so that being said, I think that this actually has a lot of room to grow. It's selling for about 120, 125 or so in 9.8 white pages. So, there were a lot of the books. There were a lot, and this is back when people were buying them and putting them straight into boards and bags. So 9.8s are very plentiful. But if it starts to spike, this could actually go up quite well, in my opinion. Daredevil coming to the Marvel Comics universe. Okay, so I'm sure he'll have to battle Mr. Fisk, the Kingpin. But the Kingpin is more, his history is more of a Spider-Man villain than a Daredevil villain. Now, they already utilized Elektra and Bullseye poorly in the movies. They may be looking for a fresh villain, and Typhoid Mary might be it. So, a very popular character in the Daredevil runs. And Daredevil, gotta flip it around so I can just double check. Number 254, there we go, was the, shoot, you got to see the next book, boo! Number 254 was the first appearance of Typhoid Mary. This is actually a decent book. There is a newsprint variant. I've got some little bit of staining on this. I'm not sending this one in. I got this in a large collection. That's why it's here. I didn't buy that one specific. Now, speaking of the New Mutants and Illyana and possible Mephisto and possible Underworld and possible demons and all that fun stuff, there was a Magic Limited series of 1, 2, 3, and 4, which shows Illyana after she was pulled into limbo, and she fought with a different version, I guess you'd say, of Storm, and this is where she acquired her powers. This is where she acquired her sword. This is where I think this is where Lockheed actually was originally Kitty Pryde's, and that actually came from the Brood series. And I'm like, whichever. This was actually a really good storyline. it was heavily printed, but wasn't heavily coveted, if you know what I mean. A lot of people to this day don't have all these books still in bags and boards, okay? You don't see a lot of these. And I think that if they do touch upon this series and get into the origin of Illyana, and she becomes a major character in the MCU, that this series will take off. Now, just so you know, I picked up this series not that long ago, all four issues. I think it was $10 off of Mercari. So it's not an expensive pickup for something that may have really good room in the future to go up. Now, if you think about the Vision and Scarlet Witch 12-part series, that is now exploding because this issue 12 has got the birth of the kids. I picked that up a year ago. All 12 issues cost me $17. Now, I couldn't touch number 12 for $17, that's for sure. Okay, so speaking of Kitty Pryde and Lockheed, they fought a big, long series in the X-Men universe of called The Brood. And honestly, The Brood to me is kind of a mix between aliens and Starship Troopers bugs. Okay, that's really what they put an embryo in you that grows and it kills you as it bursts out. Gee, what does that sound like? But Disney owns the rights to Predator. They own the rights to aliens, so in comic book form, so they can use that and not worry about copyright infringement. So that's the great thing. And there was another series later on where the Brood came back. It was actually a very popular section of the book where people read them, and X-Men 155 is the very first appearance of the Brood. So this one's actually in pretty decent condition. I might be sending this one in. This one also came from the garage sale. Now I've got one other one here that there was a lot of Spider-Man and Hulk during this time period where Tom McFarlane did the art. And Spider-Man at one point acquired the cosmic powers, very similar to Captain Marvel. And he fought Hulk and actually, punched his ass in orbit. That was kind of funny. It was Gray Hulk. It wasn't Green Hulk. So if Monica Rambeau, for some reason, gets the powers from Captain Marvel, or if Rogue comes in and she gets the powers, and if for any reason these powers start bouncing around, if there's any possibility that they have Spider-Man get the powers. He had it for several issues, but this is the one that everybody always gravitates towards. I think it's 328? No. Yeah, 328. Okay? Now, it is one of the McFarlane Spider-Man. It's sort of an iconic cover to a point where everybody knows it, where they collected it at that time. And if this does turn into a cosmic type of thing, then who knows? It's possible. It's still going to be a little bit more on the high price because it is during the McFarlane run of Spider-Man back in the 320s, which is all during that Venom and Carnage time frame. So, but still, it's a great book. So I've got a couple others here, and I'm going to switch screens. I meant to sneak this one in. I'm going to try to put this one in the middle of the video, so I don't know what the verbiage is going to be. So if it seems out of place, I'm sorry. I recorded it at the end. I'm going to stick it in the middle. One other book that I wanted to mention, not just MCU version-wise, but also is Star Wars. Star Wars, as everybody knows, is also blowing up. And I think that Darth Vader, number 3, first appearance of Dr. Aphra, yes, it's already up there. I think that this will be a character that they will develop. I have heard today that Favreau is a little bit ticked off with the situation with Gina Carano and losing her as the Cara Dune, and he was going to be doing the Republic, like the Shock Trooper series that he was in charge of, and he's asked now, can I please be removed from that? I don't want to do that. He wants to do something else with a fan favorite character. That's what he said. The only fan favorite character that I know that has not already been developed is Dr. Aphra. Yes, I'm sure there are others, but I think that's the big one. And if he gets his hands on it, if this becomes the one that everybody wants, that he's going to do, then this is going to go nuts. This is going to be hitting Clone Wars and Heir to the Empire $1,500 numbers. Don't even ask me what the 1 in 25 variant is going to go for. That'll probably be up around the $4,000 mark at a 9.8. Eventually, this character will come out. If it turns out it's going to be Favreau and Filoni doing it, it's going to blow up even more. Okay, so I wanted to sneak that one in. Okay, so I've got two more here for you. And one is the X Factor number 6, first appearance of Apocalypse. Now, yes, it's a very expensive book. A 9.8 will run you $350 to $380 based on what I've seen sold items for going on eBay in the last week. But that's still less than what's... oh my God, I'm pulling brain farts here. Mr. Sinister is going for right now because of his appearance in MODOK. But Apocalypse is such a major character, and if we do have this multiverse coming out, and if for some reason the X-Men come here from another universe, it is possible that Apocalypse could be pulled into Earth 616. We don't know where any of this is going to go, and he is such a major character that X Factor number 6, if for some reason they do bring Apocalypse back, and they know that Marvel/Disney and not his character was screwed up. I'm sorry, I did not like X-Men Apocalypse. I did not like what they did with the character. I think that Marvel Disney would knock it out of the park. Okay, I think Favreau with his hands on it would just, they would kill it. They would crush it. And I think that it would go through the roof. The other one I want to say is New Mutants Annual number 2. Now, in general, the New Mutants Annuals are really chock full of love. You got to love those things. You got the first cameo appearance of Psylocke. You got, I think Longshot was in that? No, not Longshot. Gambit? No, well, whatever. Number 2, though, has a very first appearance of Layla Chaney. And Layla Chaney is a teleporter that works within the agency of S.W.O.R.D. So if we've got mutants coming in and we're involved with S.W.O.R.D., Layla Chaney may be a major character going forward. And this may be our really good chance to jump on board here. A 9.8 CGC is selling for about $230 to $250. And I think that this is a major one that we should keep a good hard look at. You can actually even get 9.6s for the 120 range. It's just that a lot of people did not buy the New Mutants Annuals back then. Annuals were not a coveted book, so they're lower print. I believe there is a newsstand edition, but that one at a 9.8 will definitely set you back about $500. So that's where I am on those. So again, I'm just trying to give you some books that I think that even though they're expensive right now, and some of them have gone up, like the X-Men 221 because of the news with MODOK, I think that they still have room to grow. And this is not to be confused with my Remember Me segment, where I try to find books that I say to hold off on and get back at a later date. This is ones that I don't know if it's going to come down in the future. I think it may only be going up. And if you really want this in your collection, you might want to jump on it now before it gets out of control. Okay, so I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. Again, don't forget to subscribe, like, and that like button, that little thumbs up, that means so much to the algorithm. I always hate saying that word, algorithm. If you think that I ramble too much, tell me in the comments. If you think these are great ideas, tell me in the comments. And more importantly, though, if you think of any other books that you would like to share with the community, share those in the comments as well. Because I'm not the only one that's going to read it. Other people will read it too. And we're all in this together as one big family. So again, subscribe, like, notifications, and don't forget to share the video if you can to somebody that might not know just how crazy this kind of channel can get. But other than that, though, I want to thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I'm out.